Hi, social studies kiddos. It's Mrs. Anderson back this week to pick up where we left off with the death of Julius Caesar. So just to recap a couple of last week's big ideas, Rome's government was constantly changing to best fit the needs of the people. So they started off with a monarchy. Mono means one, so one person, total power, inherits their power like a king, right? And those kings got very, very powerful. Too powerful, so much to the point where they were abusing their power and the people. So the Romans knew that they had to adapt, adjust in order to avoid the government being totally overthrown by the unhappy people. So they switched to the republic. Remember that a republic is a representative form of democracy. It's an indirect form of democracy. So the Greeks, the Athenians, had a direct democracy where every single person voted on every single issue. I say person, but I really mean citizens. So that would have been like free Greek men. But in Rome, ain't nobody got time for that. So what they did was they elected leaders to represent them and then go on to make all the decisions. That powerhouse Senate was really where those decisions were coming out of. Two very powerful positions, the consuls and the dictators. And that's where the third form of government comes in Rome, which was that dictatorship. When Julius Caesar was adored by the plebeians and he was passing laws that helped the poor people, and they got really close to calling him or naming him dictator for life, which was essentially a king. So the Roman senators, the heart of the Roman Republic there, planned and executed his assassination. So they carried out his death. He was stabbed 22 times by different Senate members, all in the interest of saving the Republic. It didn't work. And I'm sure that's not a huge surprise to you. And so we're going to continue that saga today, but in order to best understand it, we quickly need to figure out how Julius and Augustus are related to each other, July and August. So real quick, put your eyes up here. We've got Julius Caesar. And he had a sister named Julia. Now remember, his real name... Owen. Hi. Quiet. Sorry. Remember that his real name was Gaius Julius Caesar. So I know it sounds weird that brother and sister were named Julius and Julia, but that was kind of his nickname. So Julius and Julia were always tight, brother and sister wise. And Julia had been married and had a daughter named Aetius. Okay. And Aetius was married and had a son named Octavian and a daughter named Octavia. Can't make this stuff up. That's just how they did it back in Rome. So Julia's grandkids were Octavian and Octavia. And what ended up happening was that Aetius' second husband wasn't really a fan of being like a stepdad to the kids and didn't really want them. So Aetius and her second husband ended up leaving and abandoning the kids. So these kids were being raised by their grandma, Julia. And because Julia was so close with her brother, Julius, he helped raise them. So he was like a father figure. Julius was a father figure to Octavian and Octavia. Octavian is later renamed Augustus, and it means like holy one, revered one, honored one. It wasn't uncommon for powerful men in that day to change their name to make it even more kind of important sounding. So Julius Caesar is the great uncle of Augustus Caesar. Another way you could say it is that Augustus Caesar, Octavian, is his great nephew. So just important to realize that they're not father and son, they're not brothers, but they are related. And he was like a father to Augustus. So after Julius Caesar's death, there is a lot of like talking in the Roman Forum, like choose me, pick me, I'd be the next great Roman leader. And while a lot of these people are talking about it and trying to convince the Roman people why they would be the next best leader, Octavian is just kind of doing it. Like, he's in the background, not really waiting for permission or to be chosen or appointed or elected. He just kind of does it. He feels like he needs to seek revenge or retribution for the death of his great uncle, who was like a father to him. And he also feels like he's, kind of next in line, and that he would be the best fit. So he ends up taking over as the leader of Rome. And he actually does that with the help of one of Julius Caesar's most trusted friends, who was a general in the Roman army, and his name was Mark Antony. Mark Antony was a young, charismatic ruler or army general leader. The Roman people loved him. And Mark Antony was actually also married to Octavian's sister, or Augustus Caesar, Octavia. So Mark Antony and Octavian are brothers-in-law. And they decide, hey, we don't need anybody's permission. I'm Caesar's great-nephew. I'm married to Caesar's great-niece. I am Caesar's most trusted army general when he was alive. Let's do this. So they take over the entire empire. And you can see in the map that we've got posted in your slides this week just how much Rome had grown from a city into an empire. It wasn't just a city anymore. Rome was controlling all sorts of land and area in the Mediterranean around that Italian peninsula. So check out the map, because you'll see in the next set of slides where all of this empire was starting to grow and turn into. So Mark Antony and Caesar are like, all right, we're going to split this up. We're going to control it. Octavian takes the western half, right? So if we take the entire Roman Empire, kind of like that, which included, part of Greece, Turkey, Spain, France, tips of North Africa. It was pretty humongous. Kind of everything that used to be Alexander's empire, everything that used to be the Persian Empire. Empires had a way of kind of switching hands. So they controlled a ton of land, and it was way too much for one guy. So Octavian said, okay, listen, I'll take the western half of the empire. Remember, Octavian later changes his name to Augustus. So Augustus is going to control the western part, which actually includes Rome, the city of Rome. And then Mark Antony decides, all right, well, I'll control the eastern part. And that was great. It was a good plan, and it was working for a while. But, one of the complicating factors in that is that the eastern part, which Mark Antony was in charge of, also included Egypt. So insert the very lovely, very manipulative, very powerful, very rich, very beautiful Cleopatra, who already caused some drama back with Julius Caesar because she had a relationship with Julius Caesar too. And actually had a baby together, and he was already married. Drama, drama, drama. But Mark Antony and Cleopatra fall in love. And they plan to give Augustus, Octavian, the boot. We don't need him. Come on, honey, you and me, we'll just take over this entire empire together. We don't need Augustus or Octavian in there. And remember, Mark Antony was already married. He was married to Octavian's sister, Octavia. So he's not happy. Octavian Caesar is not happy. His sister's been cheated on. So much drama, you guys. So Octavian finds out. He declares war on them. They have this giant battle at sea near Greece in the city-state of Actium. And, of course, Octavian wins. He gains absolute power of the Roman Empire. And that's when he renamed himself Augustus. It means respected one, holy one, revered one. And there's this very famous quote that says, like, I freed the Roman Republic from the control of those who assassinated Julius Caesar. The Roman Senate, the knights, all of the Roman people have called me father of the country. So he gains absolute power over the entire empire, and he leads the Romans into some of the best years they ever had. What are our best years called? When we've got peace and wealth and progress. You got it? You got it? You got it. It's a golden age. And this actual golden age has a title. It's called Pax Romana. So we're now an empire with an emperor controlling all sorts of land and people. And Augustus Caesar is our emperor, and he's going to take the Romans into the very best years they ever experienced, called Pax Romana, peace, wealth, and progress, the golden age of Rome. Okay, so we'll be back a little bit later to talk more about Pax Romana, but that's the scoop on Julius Caesar. His death did not save the Roman Republic. Instead, Augustus Caesar swooped in, and he intended to share the power, but that didn't work out. Little girl drama in there. So stick with us this week and get through all of the videos and the activities. And it's so crazy in my house right now. Can you hear all the noise? And keep up the great work. We miss you so much. Oh my goodness. Before I let you go for the week, I forgot to tell you how Cleopatra and Mark Antony, like what the end of their story ends up being. So you'll see it a little bit in the brain pop. But Mark Antony ended up like falling on his own sword and killing himself because he knew that would be better than being captured by Augustus Caesar's army. And Cleopatra ended up letting a poisonous snake bite her, they think, also to kill herself because that would be better than being captured by Caesar's army. So that was kind of like an interesting finale to their story. They did have several children together, though, that were considered partly Roman but partly Egyptian. So that was, again, a lot of drama that was kind of added to this layer. Augustus Caesar lived a very full kind of, magnificent life, but also boring. Nothing crazy happened to him like it did with Julius. And a lot of the senators that were responsible for Julius Caesar's death also died like very dramatically. Some like ate burning coals to like kill themselves because they couldn't handle the aftermath of Caesar's death. One went like crazy. She kind of lost her mind over it. Another one drank poison. There was just a lot of like stuff that happened. They kind of called it the Caesar curse to the senators that were responsible for Julius Caesar's death. So I just want to make sure that I told you that because it's interesting. Kids are always like find it interesting. So okay, back to it. Also, I'm really sorry about my hair this week. It's very muggy. It's very humid. It's very hot. My hair is very crazy. So I apologize that you had to watch that all crazy hair in the videos. Hopefully Mr. Utes or Mrs. McGuigan has nicer hair in their videos this